Okay. I don't know what that was about.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right, it's 9 o'clock. Let's see. And the people are still coming in. All right, the last time I did this, there's one question already. Hooray for Glendon. All right, thanks, Maureen. Appreciate that. Last time I did this, the whole itinerary that I had planned did not happen because everybody had a ton of questions. And I have a feeling it's going to be the same thing this time. So, with that, let's get started. There's quite a few people here. Essentially, now, it's been a long day. I may lose my voice because it's been kind of going in and out. So, we'll just go and see what happens. All right. Essentially, this is, how to get your hustle on webinar. Because the thing is, everybody wants extra income, or some people actually want to start a new life with their own business. I should make a note that I'm recording this, and I also recorded the last webinar that I did, and they're both going to go in the members area, or essentially that section of Storage Auction Guru that I blocked off while the new site's being built. But all this stuff will be there later on. So let's see what's going on. Okay, just making sure. Can everyone hear me? I have your mics muted for a reason because when I leave them open, you hear all kind of stuff. You hear dogs, cats, couples fighting. That was actually pretty good. All right. Everybody seems to be rolling along. Timothy, you don't miss any of these. I'll tell you, you're just like going to make sure your extra income is tip top. Let's see. Okay. All right. One of the first things that you have to do when you want to get your own hustle going on is you have to start from a positive position. This is something that I've noticed over the last 3 years. You have a lot of people that are in bad situations. Their job may have gone away and they're pretty much depressed. It's very hard to have a lot of energy, enthusiasm, motivation when you're depressed. You have to think about the little things that are important. Also, you have to have a plan. Like, first thing that you do is take stock of your inventory, and that would be your skill sets, accreditations, degrees, whatever you have. Put all that on the table and come up with a plan based on what your strengths and weaknesses are. I know it sounds really simple and it sounds like common sense, but I've seen people who had incredible strengths put all their hopes and dreams and ambitions on their weaknesses because that's what they wanted to do. Um, Sometimes your strength isn't the thing that you want to do, and you have to really be honest with yourself because I hated making videos in the beginning for about the first 2 years. I hated it, but I had to do it to get the word out. And now over a period of time, I got better and better, and I still need development. But that's one of the things that we're going to talk about. And since this is kind of a segue into what's going to happen with the new site, because there has been a lot of confusion, and I'm going to take a minute to clear that up. Essentially, I'm going to build iBuyIProfit.com. Essentially, it's going to be a site for resale professionals because whether you buy from storage units, picking, or hustling, or whatever you're doing, you're getting inventory to resell to make a profit. And there's certain things that just don't change regardless of where you get your inventory from. And the site's gonna essentially be built, and I'm gonna add content every week, and it's just gonna be a one-time fee. It's not gonna be a monthly subscription. Essentially, everybody that bought the 3-book printed book deal gets in. There are, you should have already gotten your email. If you bought your books on Amazon, send me a picture of all 3. And starting tomorrow, I'm gonna do what's called a bridge fee. If you got the 3 ebooks for $59.95, send you a link, pay $40, you're in. The reason I'm doing that is I want everybody to start off in the same place because I've done many things and I've given out incredible deals and I've suffered for it. And I'm like, not this time because it's going to be very robust. One of the first things that we're going to do is customer acquisition. That's going to be the first set of training. Once I get the Making Money A to Z webinar all situated up in there, and the next thing is acquiring customers, because when you do a hustle or a side business, people look at what I call the short money. It's like you found this item, you've got this product, and you flip it. But you're not really thinking, how do I build a system based on what I'm doing? Because one thing I learned when I was in corporate America for a very brief time, systems work. That's one of the reasons they're so big on systems. Like, give you an example. If you're going to have to email a bunch of people, it's best to just email folks. Then if you have to write notes, then write notes. It's just group your activities in a group of similar tasks, and you'll be more efficient, faster, and get more done. I've done it, and it works. What you want to do with your hustle is come up with a business plan. I know it sounds like overkill, but I have people who have full-time jobs who wrote the business plan, like I said, because I did the consulting, and some of these folks are making $3 to $6 grand a month from their hustle, in addition to having their full-time job. I'm not going to tell you to quit your job and just go out there and run amok, because this is the thing. You need capital to buy stuff. And if you don't have a lot of money saved, or you're not independently wealthy, you need your job until you get to a certain point and you have a certain amount of money in the bank. So essentially, I'm going to get back on plan, but life is great. That's the first tenement. If you don't know, I'm divorced. And it was a very, very ugly divorce. It was so ugly, I lost my freaking mind and ended up living in a boarding house in the hood with crackheads. Ooh. And through that, I became a little depressed, and my life just kind of was dwindling down. And then one day, I just decided to give thanks for the things I had. And one of those things I had was a friend. He was a little nutty. He was an older guy in the neighborhood, but he was a friend. And I gave thanks for him, and I started looking for other things to be thankful about, and I kind of slowly but surely pulled myself out the funk. Got 2 horrible jobs. If you've ever heard of a place called Labor Ready or Labor Force, where you get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, you go sit in there and they send you out on these bullshit jobs. Like, I was working in the UPS headquarters in the dish line. And understand, I could not get back in my field because I had screwed up and I had lost my accreditation. So I couldn't get a job that I was trained for that would have paid a lot more. So essentially, I had to get what I could get. So when I tell you that where you are right now, that you can go from that position to someplace really nice, I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you, because that was 99 when I really started coming out of there. Then 2000. Yeah, from 99 to 2001, a lot of transformation happened. And someone's like Job Club. Is that another one? I never even heard of that. And in literally 2.5 years, I totally changed my life. And that's coming from getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to this place where sometimes I would be putting tar on roofs, going to the landfill to pick diapers and stuff out because EPA regulations. And I had a very good job skill that I couldn't use because I screwed up my accreditation. And you just don't know how bad it hurt that, I couldn't even hold my head up. So I just came up with a plan, started giving thanks. It was not overnight. Took 2.5 years, went from the boarding house to getting my own place to, I don't know if I told this story on YouTube, but some of you may not think so much of me, but to get a decent job that I had no experience in, I created a resume. I lied. I created a resume with stuff I knew I could do, and I applied for jobs, and I also created my own reference. This was like in 2000. It's not like it is now where, everybody can look you up, and everyone didn't have a cell phone. So I applied for several jobs. I was interviewed for a few. Then one brought me back for a second interview, then a third interview. Then I got a call from the owner, and he's like, did you receive your offer letter yet? And I said, no. Then he got off the phone, and he's like, you'll get something soon. And before we got to that point, they checked my references. And there's this place that was like a voicemail place. You just get a number and it goes to your pager. So I had created this Mr. Patel and used the Indian voice. And they called Mr. Patel and I was like, hey, this is Rent a Crate. And we were calling to check on Glendon Cameron, and they only asked me 2 questions when I called back. Did he work there, and would you hire him again? And I said, yes, he was a great worker. And I got my offer letter, and I got my first non-hospital job in my life that set the stage for other success. And sometimes you have to do what you have to do. You're like, I'm not like ashamed of it because I did a great job when I got it. I stayed like 12 hours a day learning stuff that I didn't know and calling people and networking. But the whole thing is when your back is against the wall, you have to make something happen. So when I say that, you can go from nothing, you can go from where you are right now to owning your own business, to making a 6-figure income, to possibly a 7-figure income. I have not gotten to the 7-figure income. I've just did the 6-figure income. But it is very possible. Very, very possible. What it's going to take is, number one, you have to be able to make a decision that you're going to pay the cost of whatever you want. There's a cost. If you're willing to pay that cost, you can have it. Most people don't want to pay that cost. They want the item, they want the lifestyle, but they don't want to pay that cost of that. And sometimes it can be heavy. It could be like you're not getting married, you're not having kids, you're working 7 days a week. That's the reality of it. But also, something that I learned later in life after being sick is you need to have an exit plan, because I had the entry plan, but I did not have the exit plan. And if you work like that for a few years, I'm packing inventory while you're talking. Am I paying the price? That would be Maureen. Yes, you're paying the price. That's called multitasking. And essentially, that's the kind of stuff you have to do, because I did a lot of crazy stuff in the storage auction business because everyone tried to dissuade me from going full time. It's like, you can't make it full time. You can't make it full time. One of the things I noticed, and this comes from having the job at Rent a Crate, is that the storage auction business was, and to a great deal, even today, is very unstructured. People don't have I used to have what I call a unit buying profile. And I'll break it down since we're all family. I noticed early on that the larger units per cost were cheaper and you got more stuff. And I give you an example, and I see it on TV all the time. There's a 5x5, most units go like this: 5x5, 5x10, 10x10, 10x15, 10x20, 10x30, 10x40, and sometimes a 20x20. The 5x5s up to the 10x10s can go anywhere from $200 to like $500, $600, $700. Then you jump to the 10x20 or the 10x30, and they're going for $500, $600, $700, $800. And you get not twice as much stuff, but sometimes 3 to 4 times as much stuff. And it's cheaper per item. And I was just like, why is that? And the reason is 90% of the people who are in the storage auction business are set up for a mom and pop type endeavor. They have a pickup truck and a trailer. Some may have a box truck, and it's going to be a 17-footer. But if you're trying to load the 10x20, that's 2 trips. And very few people, and I learned this from a guy by the name of Michael Wise. If you're in Georgia, you've probably seen him. He's the guy I wrote on the blog about always needing a lock. Michael had this 27-foot truck, and he would buy tons and tons of stuff, then go to South Carolina and blow it out. And Michael always had money. And I watched that, and I was like, okay, why does he always have money? He has a big truck, so he can clean out a 10x20 in one trip, and maybe go get a 10x10 because it was a 27-foot truck and he knew how to pack. So the economies of scale came in for him, and he was pretty hard to get around in the beginning before I got my game plan, because if he wanted, he got it because he always had money. And he sold, and also Michael had a degree. Strangely enough, Michael had a degree. And Michael sold not just, because a lot of people only sell on the weekends. They go to the flea market and sell on the weekends. If it rains, they screwed. You could tell. I'll answer that in a minute. And what Michael did was he sold 3 times a week. Went up to North South Carolina, and he sold it. So he had a lot more money. And I was like, okay, you need to sell more. Let's see. We got a question here from Jake Smith. Which came first, the box truck or the warehouse? Box truck. If you have a 27-foot truck, you have a mobile warehouse, believe it or not. Definitely have to get the biggest truck your money can bear, because it will pay for itself sooner than you think. Let's see. There's another question. I might have to click on it. Chris picked up a Duncan Fife dining table, 2 lane end tables. Was gonna sell a dining table, but not in the best shape. So using it for my hustle. By the way, they were free. That's awesome. Um, Essentially, you have to, going back with. I will also explain something I say in videos, but I don't really go into depth. When we got in the storage auction business, we started, and my partner, the one Francine, she died. Um, we started off in the garage, her garage, my garage. Then we moved to the flea market, and then we moved to a 1,000 square foot store. That's why when people tell me it's like, oh, I'm getting 800,000 square feet, I'm telling you, you're gonna outgrow that so quick. You're gonna be pissed within 3 to 4 months because it's not enough room because you're getting all this stuff. So we went from that to 2,000 square feet. Then that wasn't enough room, and it took me a while to figure it out. We were getting so much stuff because I was buying a lot. I was like, you know what, we got to get a warehouse. And this is where the corporate training came in. I was like, so I went out and I rented a warehouse, 5,000 square feet. One of the best moves I ever made in my life because it instantly solved 2 problems. If you have a store, this is going to be one of your biggest problems if you do not have a warehouse to sort and create an inventory supply system. Your store is going to look like, it's going to look really great, then it's going to look like hell. Then it's going to look really great, then it's going to look like hell. And then you're always going to be churning and moving stuff. And it's going to wear you out. Now, this is why you get a warehouse first. Because you can do your Amazon out your warehouse. You can do your eBay out your warehouse. You can do your Craigslist out your. That's 3 things you can do out your warehouse without getting a business license. I didn't say that. It's on you if you do that. But that's 3 things you can do in the warehouse. It also depends upon your city because I was ducking the code enforcement guy because when you have a commercial business, they try to make you get a dumpster, and you can't get a dumpster unless you get a business license first. I'm like, it's a bitch. Here's a question from Frank. What did the 5,000 square foot warehouse cost per month? Believe it or not, $1,250. It was a steal. It was a steal. And when it went up to 10,000, the rent doubled to 2,500. And why is it a steal? Because the rent on my retail space was $2,000 for 2,000 square feet. Yes, $2,000. So the warehouse was a significantly better deal. Actually, I will touch on that now. The yard sales there too. Essentially, when I let the retail store environment go, because there's a lot of things that happen when you have a retail store. Due to city ordinance, you can't put, some places won't let you put stuff outside. And if you don't put stuff outside, people don't stop and come in. It's a pain in the ass. And you've kind of got this ongoing battle with the code enforcement guy and trying to get your customers in there because say you get a really nice unit and you get some sexy stuff, some really nice furniture. If you put that outside in the parking lot, I can guarantee you're going to have people stopping every hour. And when that parking lot fills up and they see like 6 or 7, 8, 9 cars, those cars are like, come here. More cars will pop up. It's like when your parking lot's empty, people are like, there ain't nothing going over there, and they'll just keep passing. But it starts filling up and they see people walking around, it just makes more people stop. So that's kind of one of the problems when you have a retail store, because if your code enforcement people are crazy, they're going to make your life a living hell. And one day, I got into it with my landlord at the retail spot, and I was just like, we're not renewing the lease because she was a freaking Nazi. She was just crazy. It's like, no, you can't do this, you can't do this, and I don't want Stone Mountain on this. And I'm just like, and then my partner and I, we talked about it, and it's like, we'll just run everything out the warehouse. And the plan was to move everything to the warehouse, then get another retail space. But we had a whole bunch of stuff in the warehouse, and we were moving stuff into the warehouse. And I said, look, we need to have a huge garage sale. And see, this is where I'm getting to your question, Jake. So I went out and I printed it. I actually made all these big ass pink signs, the upscale garage sale. And the warehouse was on Mountain Industrial Boulevard. So I went all the way down to Ponce de Leon, all the way up to Hugh Howe, and I had like 20 big ass pink signs leading all the way up to the warehouse. The first weekend of the upscale garage sale, we made $12,000. we were freaking blown away. We made 12 grand and we cleared out 35% of the warehouse. There were holes everywhere and we were just ecstatic. And I was like, we're not getting a retail space. We're not. We're not. We're going to do this right here every weekend because the code enforcement guy was off. So did that every weekend, rain or shine. There was no heat. There was no air conditioning. But there was 4,000 square feet. There was everything in there was $1. There was clothing. There was pots and pans. There was coffee makers. Sometimes microwaves. If we were heavy on microwaves, I would move microwaves to the dollar section. And I would have other flea market people, they would come early. They're like, hey, if you open up early, I'm gonna spend $100. I'm gonna spend $200, and they come in there and buy 100 pieces. And that area actually made more money than the rest of the warehouse because it constantly turned. There was stuff going in, there was stuff coming out. Let's see. Yuck. That's how it's done in Amish country. Okay, and that's how the upscale garage sale got started. It was pissed off at the landlord, and then we expanded from 5,000 square feet to 10 and was really open just for like retail services Saturday and Sundays. And a lot of times I didn't even open on Sundays. Sometimes I would open on Fridays because I had a lot of regular customers and then they would like call and say, hey, I'll come in. Do you have this? Do you have that? And I'll tell you what we did to build up a pretty strong regular customer base. If you have a spot, I don't care if you're at the flea market, I don't care if you're at a garage sale, you need to have a sheet where people can sign up, leave their name, their phone number, and email address. And that spot needs to have room, and it needs to be clean, and it needs to be inviting. Put a box of donuts there. Let's see, any more questions? Hold on. Put a box of donuts, whatever. You want to capture that information. In the beginning, it's going to be tough. People are like, no. But when you get to 200 to 300 names that you can like put in an email blast, you'll be shocked at what happens. Because I would get a unit, take pictures, shoot out an email, and a lot of times that's how I was selling stuff during the week. We would meet people for Craigslist, and essentially between Amazon, eBay, and the warehouse, we were selling something 7 days a week. Money was coming in 7 days a week, and I just noticed that I was able to go out to the auctions with anywhere from 5 to 15 grand consistently. And that's when they really hated my ass. And they couldn't figure it out because back then, very few people were using eBay. And a lot of people at the time didn't even know about Craigslist. So, for a long time, I had a pretty sweet deal. Okay. Is it worth it to advertise your store before and during your opening of the store? I have mixed opinions on that because typically when you do a grand opening, you'll get a bunch of tire kickers. You'll make money. You'll get a bunch of people in there. But I would not, in this day and age, I would not pay to advertise. I would use Twitter, Facebook, and you are better off picking up the phone or emailing people because this is what's going to happen. And this kind of comes back to code enforcement because sometimes they only let you do that once or twice, or you have grand opening sale for maybe a month or something. You're very limited period of time where they'll let you put up balloons and stuff. I feel that, if you can do it cheaply, because when you say pay, are you talking about putting an ad in the paper? I wouldn't put an ad in the paper. You would do better by putting an ad in Craigslist every week that you have a thrift store and you're selling. But we really didn't do a lot of advertising because one, it was in the warehouse, and I really pushed the limits there. Let's see. Here's from John Lang. What are your feelings about running your own auction every month to move those slow-moving, low-scale items that don't move quick? I would say don't do it. And this is my reason, and this is why I didn't do it. You have to decide what type of business you're running. Because if you're doing any and everything, there's going to be blind spots and deficiencies, and you're going to have problems because you're going to confuse your customers. It's like, do we pay regular price or do we wait till the auction? And you'll train your people to wait until an auction comes for them to buy stuff really cheap. Because it's amazing when you have a live auction, how well people work together, and the stuff really doesn't get that high if it's just ordinary stuff. So my recommendation to you is find an auction house that you can take that stuff out of your store, out of your warehouse, and go somewhere else to another set of customers. Because once you train your customers that you're going to have an auction, they're not going to buy from you. on certain things. They're going to wait till the auction. Like, look at yourself. Like, if you know a certain store has a coupon or a certain free day, you won't go there unless until that day. You'll just wait, and you may want that food all week, but you're like, hey, Friday, it's half off. And that's when you go in there. So you don't want to train your customers to shop you like that. It's a great idea to do an auction house to get rid of stuff, but the better ideal is to hire someone and have a partnership and have them go to the flea market. And the deal is blow it out. Don't bring nothing back. Just blow it out, because you want your customers to respect your buying policies. Because if they know that you're going to do deep discounts like an auction, they will clown on you. I've seen it happen to a lot of people. What if you're only allowed 2 yard sales a year in your city? Wow. Okay. That's a problem. That's a huge problem, because I addressed it in the book, The Ultimate Garage Sale, but if you want to have more garage sales than that, you're going to have partners. That's the only way I can see it. Now, what I was doing, I did it on the weekend in an industrial area, and since code enforcement wasn't around, this went on for years. And cops came in, because there was one time 2 cops came in uniform, and they were looking around and everything, and I was just sitting there like, oh shit, here we go. And they're like, how long you been in business? I was like, been here for a while, warehouse. Had a storefront in Stone Mountain, we just blowing some stuff out. I didn't really give him too much information. Then he was like, how much for them rims? And I made him a good deal, and they didn't mess with me. But they weren't code enforcement cops. They were, regular police officers. But honestly, if you can only have 2 yard sales in your city, you're screwed. You're going to have to heavily depend on eBay, Craigslist, and Amazon. And developing your own customer channels. Because believe it or not, you can make a lot of money out of a warehouse and not have a store and not ever have a sign up. It's all about learning how to acquire customers. Because, give you an example. Say you had a Rolodex of 1,000 people with all kind of wants, desires, wishes, whatever. And you had the program like Goldmine, and every time you got stuff in, you send out an email blast. I learned this technique from my evil landlord. Because she would bring stuff in, and she had the girl that would sit on the phone and call up all her customers. And I saw this woman make 5, 6, 7, 8 grand in a day doing that. So it works. It's hard work, and you always have to have stuff for your customers, but you can do quite well and never really be open for normal business hours. Definitely, that's where having a following comes in, but we're opening. Yeah, because when we moved everything to the warehouse, we had customer list. And I just emails like, look, everything's at the warehouse now. It is super important to build a customer base, because one of the things you don't see on television is you never see them selling anything, and it's all this one-off stuff. I will tell you from my years and years of experience that regular customers who buy cheap stuff frequently will make you more money than the big hits. I mean, I'm serious. We were just amazed at how much money we made off crap. That's why when I did the video, it doesn't have to be exciting to make you money. I wasn't kidding. I mean, there were some weekends we didn't sell a washer and dryer. We didn't sell anything big, and like a really bad weekend was 4 to 5 grand. And it was all dollar stuff. Like we had some Brazilians, we had some Mexicans who would come in like in 3 or 4 cars, like a caravan, and they would all spend anywhere from 30, 40 bucks a piece, because not only were they buying for themselves, but they were buying for folks back home. And see, that's why, I'll say, get close to an immigrant neighborhood, because they will buy for self and they will send so much stuff home to their family because they can't get that stuff. So you've got a regular customer who's buying all the time. And I want you to just do the math on this. 500 people who spend $30 with you every month. Do the math. It's not a lot of money. It ain't real sexy. And it's stuff that you can get all the time. It's amazing. You build that channel. I didn't put this in the video, but all my Latino homeboys that I had, moving stuff for me, I would say, hey, meet up. Go home, talk to you, whoever you know, and let them know I got deals in the warehouse. That's one of the reasons I have a huge Mexican following, because of those guys. That's why I love my Latino brothers. And that's where you work all your advantages, because I didn't just hire them to move shit. I hired them, and I had one guy, he was really good because he bought me probably 100 customers. I mean, seriously, 100 customers. And I just treated them nice and paid them $10 an hour. Let's see. No stores yet. Let's see what this one is. How would you handle someone who sees your work ethic and your growth and wants you to join their business, but their business is small potatoes and they're promising big payoff, but not win and many none paying days and hours? This is Chris. Wouldn't do it. If your engine is pulling faster and stronger than theirs, it's not going to work out, because two problems are immediate. One, they're not doing the right stuff already, and it's a habit. They want to latch on to your energy and growth. I don't see, unless they're just going to give you like a whole bunch of money, I don't see the benefit. You know, if you're not equals and they can't give you something that you don't have, what's the point? I would say, look, this is the deal. This is my business, and I will work with you, but it will be a per deal basis. It won't be ongoing. It's like, hey, you get a unit and you want to split some things and they sell some stuff. I would do that. But like a real partnership, you know, where you've got a document drawn up and you're sharing 50-50 based on what you told me, I wouldn't do it, because it just sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. Let's see. He's waiting on the garage sale book. Here's Timothy. In New Jersey, they're talking about people making people to buy permits to have yard sales. I see that coming, because it's a cottage industry that's growing. This recession, there's been a lot of people who consistently have yard sales, and the government saying, hey, that's just another source of revenue. I would say this. If the permit is not crazy, say the permit is $50, but you know you can make $2,000 at your garage sale. Just the cost of doing business. It sucks, but I expect more of this type of stuff in the future. All states are hurting on the revenue tip. Everybody's looking for ways to get more money, and expect more taxes on internet sales. It's coming. It's coming. It's just the wave of the future. It's going to be a pain for the small time seller. It would be crazy if it's Jersey. You got a point, because I was up in New York and I went through some of those tolls, and I was like, good. I was amazed. I'm like, if you're in New York and New Jersey, you better always have some cash on you, because you ain't gonna make it. But that's kind of the deal with having your own store, and that's why I say get the truck in the warehouse first, because you can make money under the radar. But I didn't say that. That's on you if you do that. And part of this, when you're starting a business, there's so many things that are going on. I look at it like this. It was my money. It was my effort. I was dealing with customers. And, I've never taken any money from the government. I've not been on any programs or any of that shit. So I'm taking care of myself, and that's how I feel. That's how I feel. But the thing is, one of the reasons that I love this business is, for many years, it was a lot of cash. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to launder money, because that's what I would be doing if I told you some of the stuff I did. But I will say there are many ways that you can benefit by proper financial tools put in place. Cut your tax bill and always have cash around. It's a beautiful thing. And, not to be totally conspiracy theory type person, but there's a reason that everybody's kind of moved to debit cards and stuff, and they're giving them, because it tracks you. When you have cash, you can do a lot of stuff. Here's Jake. No difference between paying for that and paying for a spot in the flea market. And I hear flea market spots are really going up. They're really, really going up to a crazy amount. But that's kind of the deal with the storage business, because you have to have scale. As long as you stay at a mom and pop level, your income's going to be small. Because the thing is, to get to a six-figure income, if that's your desire, you're going to have to hire people. You're going to have to take some risk, because it's the scale. And, I don't think I said on YouTube, but, we used to buy anywhere from 5 to 20 units a week, with little units, because the more you buy, the luckier you become. And if you're only in a situation where you can process 1 or 2 units a week, 8 a month, do the math on that. It's like 50, 60 a year. We were buying 150, 200 a year. The more you buy, the luckier you become. So you have to build an infrastructure that can handle all that buying. Now, here's a bright spot for a lot of you guys who are a little hesitant. There were several different sources of inventory that I had. Storage auctions were number one because you got more bang for the buck. Hold on a second. But I had a guy, I actually had a few guys here and there that did foreclosure cleanouts. And they would bring me stuff, and it was 50%. You sit it in my shop, and whenever I sold it, I gave them 50% of whatever I sold it for. Beautiful relationship. I had customers who was like, hey, my grandmother passed, or I know this people and they want to get rid of this stuff. I would go and buy a whole estate for like $1,000, $1,500, and it was better than stuff out of storage units. See, because the thing is, what I should say is, once you build the infrastructure, there is no shortage of inventory. That's the big secret, because I don't watch the Storage Wars auction. I don't watch those shows because there's so much stuff that they don't address that you can go out and spend a lot of money and lose your ass when you really don't have to. Because you've got storage auctions, you have foreclosure cleanouts, you have your customers. And this is another reason for having customers. Bam, email us. It's like, hey, we're a little low on inventory. Does anyone have anything they want to sell? We buy washers, dryers, lawnmowers. We buy all this stuff. Next thing you know, you got people bringing you stuff. Sometimes they're like, hey, I won't take cash, but if you will trade me X, Y, and Z, I traded a guy $5 for $1,000 worth of stuff. Why? I bought the unit. It cost me $5, and he got all the stuff out of that unit, and he gave me $1,000 worth of stuff. So I was up $995 on the trade. When I say buy crap unit, I didn't do that video. But this is a tip. If you're going to storage auctions, because everyone's like, I hate crappy units. I hate that crap. Okay, you can buy a crappy unit and leverage that up as a trade, or give it to people to help you clean out units, because there's 3 tiers of storage auction people. There's number 1, I'm broke as shit and I can only buy garbage units. These people will clean out units for you for stuff. Middle of the road, I can buy kind of what I want, but I reach a point of diminishing returns because not so much I don't have enough money, it's I don't have enough space. Then up here, the 3rd level where I was, I've got a warehouse, I've got trucks. Look around in your town. There's only a few people at that level. If you get to that level, then you can have these people working for you, scare these people, and do other stuff. Like, once you get your infrastructure built, you can have periods where, I talked about in this video, here in Georgia, and I'm not talking about tax season. Tax season is usually the worst, but sometimes there's 2, 3, 4 weeks. There just ain't shit to buy. It's just like you go every auction, it's just horrible. You don't want anything, but your customers is there, so you got to figure out a way to get some inventory. So, I have actually gone to small estate sales. Like, when you go to an estate sale that's run by a company, they're not going to work with you on the we'll buy everything thing, because they're going to try to sell it to your retail prices. But if you catch an estate sale, because a lot of people, believe it or not, still use the newspaper. Go to the newspaper, see someone's having an estate sale, get to them before the sale happens. You have to get to them before the sale happens. Like, look, I'll take everything. Just walk around, ask them what they have. I have literally cleaned out houses for $500. It actually cost me more money in the labor than what I paid the people to clean out the house. Because some people are just like, I want it gone. Make me an offer. $500. Okay. $1,000. Okay. Now, you've got that going on. You're getting stuff from storage units. Because the thing is, you have to create what I call a circle of money. You got stuff that's coming in, you're selling stuff, money's coming in. It has to always be moving. Because what a lot of people want to do, buy a unit, sell everything, then go back out and buy stuff. But see, when you do that, you've missed auctions. You've missed opportunities. You always want to be in a position where you can buy. My job in our business was acquisition, marketing, and logistics. And firing people when they needed, because my partner hated firing people, so it always fell on me. And then my partner handled other stuff. But it was my job to always make sure we had inventory. That was my job. If we didn't have any inventory, I failed. And I just learned, because I was out there and I was like, look, this is the 2nd week. Inventory is going down. I've got to get some more inventory. If you're in Georgia, there's a place on Sigmund Road, H&A Auctions. And they have all kinds of crazy stuff. You know, I bought like 50 lawnmowers in there for $500. They were little cheap lawnmowers, but I sold those suckers for $50 a piece. And you know, it's $2,500 from a $500 buy. That was a pretty good turn. And there's definitely a lot of stuff. Let me see what's down here with the questions. All right, this is from John. Back to the auction, a month ideal. I currently do not have a store and deal strictly with garage sales. We have a 2-year deal here as well. eBay, Craigslist, etc. So there will be no problem with the customers waiting for the auction for deals. In this case, how would you feel about an auction and month ideal? Really would clear out the crap. Same deal. I mean, if you want to have it, I would just make sure that your current customers don't see it. Because if they know that I'll give you an example. A friend of mine owns a consignment shop, and I knew another guy that owned a consignment shop, and this is their sell. Customer comes in, and it's like, look at the label. You see this? When it reaches this date, it goes down to this price, this price. And I have literally seen people wait for it to get to that third price before they would buy. Trust me when I say this. You have your auction. It's a great idea. But you want to either have a different set of customers who's coming to get that stuff, because if your current customers see that you will take less, they're going to start offering you less during your regular business hours because you've trained them that. So, you know, have the auction, but make sure you got other people coming, or you build another group of prospects or sell to business people, because I'm telling you, man, I've done it. You will clear out the crap, but you will adopt some more problems, a lot more problems. But it's a way. Went to my first auction this morning and saw a unit that was pretty much scrap metal go for very little. Is it worth if it was worth it to buy those units? Yes. Give you an example. I bought a unit that had some shopping carts and some other crap in there, and I got it for $1. But here's another tip: if you can work it, when you buy a unit like that no one wants, it's an opportunity to go to the storage manager and say, look, I'll buy that unit if you will give me extra time to clean out other units. Use it as a leverage point, because here's a little secret. If that unit does not sell, they're going to have to pay anywhere from $500 to $1,500 to a waste disposal company to get that stuff out of there. So giving you extra time, maybe a month, they saving money. But see, they won't tell you that. They're saving money because most storage facilities have to have a licensed contractor to clean out those units if they don't sell. That's a law. Most, if they're abiding by the law. So that's a leverage point. Now, I bought the unit, got in there, and found 4 spools of copper. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Big old, it took 3 of us to turn the thing up and roll it up on the truck. Huge, huge, huge. About $4,000 at the scrapyard. So if you're gonna buy scrap, it has to be a lot. Cast iron, chrome, that stuff. It's amazing, but certain things go for it. But if it's a lot, like say you got a 10 by 20 and it's full of just like steel pipes, and you can get it for $5-6, yeah, it's worth it. Now, part of this is you have to get it cheap, because if you don't know the current metal prices, or you're not really good on what you're looking at, because you're thinking, hey, that's stainless steel, but it's not stainless steel, because stainless steel you get a different price, regular steel you get a price, cast iron, aluminum, it's all different prices. But yeah, scrap units, there are people who make full-time livings from scrapping metal. So yeah, it's definitely worth it. Hold on, because I'm getting a little dry here. But that's why I love the storage auction business. There's a lot of flexibility depending on how you work it, because my partner would take, someone that brought this up in the group, would take soap or hotel soap unopened and put it in these little baggies and staple it and put it in the dollar section, because you get tons of that stuff. And sometimes you would have people, they would come out with 10, 20 of those little things, and people like, well, I'm going to take them to the homeless shelter. I'm going to do this. You have a lot of good people. So that's where the term from the ruler to the tutor comes, because we sold everything. I call it hog theory, because A lot of storage auction people throw away 20-30% of their profits because they don't want to deal with selling that stuff, or they haven't figured out how to sell that stuff. Everything sells. It's a matter of price. If it's sold once, it's going to sell again. It may not sell for a lot of money. Let's just be honest about it. But if you can get $1 for it and you've got a system, it's worth it. It's really worth it. Let's see if there's any more questions. That's it. Because I'm about to lose my voice because it's going again. But I'm going to say this before going. Just to be clear on what I'm doing. Because there's a lot of people that are still being processed, because a lot of people have been buying the 3-book deal. What you're going to do sometime this week is get your password to get into that section of Storage Auction Guru where there are 4 videos up, and there's going to be some more. And essentially, when I get iProfit.com up, it's going to be a very simple site. I'm not going to go real crazy, and it's not going to be all kind of bells and whistles and stuff. But it's going to be an ongoing training site for a one-time fee. Because I'm telling you, the biggest thing is, to me, the easiest thing is buying the units. The hardest thing is consistently selling and selling your products as fast as you can while maintaining a good profit margin. That's the trick. Because if you had 15 grand, you could be in the storage auction business and do quite well if you knew what to do. You can have $1 million, and like someone like me and other people who knew what to do, we ran Johnny Cox off and made him spend damn near $1 million because he knew what he's doing. He's just like, I got a lot of money, I'm buying everything. And we made him buy everything, and he paid 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times what he should for that stuff, and he disappeared for 6 months. And he had $1 million because he didn't have the knowledge. See, that's the thing. Buying is easy, but setting up your business, having that sales channel that just and the thing is, it doesn't have to be going 100 miles an hour. If as long as it's consistently going, like, give you an example. Amazon might do $500 on a given night. eBay may do $400 or $500 same night. You sold four or 5 things on Craigslist. It's a $1,200 to $1,500 day because you've got Amazon working when you sleep, eBay working when you sleep, Craigslist, and then when you build up your regular customer base, you've got that. And that's how you make money in this business. It's not the wow factor and all this stuff. You can't make money off those big hits all the time because you're not going to get them all the time. It's not going to happen. I bought damn near 1,300 units, and there was like 30 that was like super, super remarkable. And that's not even like 10%. It's like not even 5% of what I bought. You have to learn how to sell the trash as well as the beautiful stuff. And people are hooked on the beautiful stuff and the rare stuff. Okay. Let's see. Here's Pauline. How do I get access to your current members area with where you post the webinars? I have an assistant. That's one of the reasons I've been actually collecting. What we're going to do, I'm sending out some more tomorrow. If you've already bought the 3-book deal, you should, because I think you're new. I think you recently bought it, but you're going to get it this week. You're going to get a password, and you'll be able to get in. Let's see. Frank, I bought the 3 ebook deal. Can you send me the info to get the upgrade? Once again, that's happening this week. What I'm going to have my assistant do is go in and just create a database, and then just going to send out an email with the link, and that's going to happen this week too. Let's see, here's from Chris. When you're pricing inventory, you're pricing at 50% of the listings on eBay to blow it out, price it to sell it fast as long as your margin can handle it. Hold on a second. You're going to find this very interesting. I actually price my items higher than the stuff on eBay. Understand, there's several different demographics of customers. This is something that I noticed with Amazon. I would have an item on Amazon that was significantly higher than the item on eBay, and it will sell faster on Amazon. Go on eBay, see an item, and factor in all those costs. Like say it's $100 on eBay, there's some other costs, there's shipping, whatever. I would put, if this was shipping everything, it's like $120. I put $150 on it in my store, and then come down to $120. Because you have to understand, everybody doesn't shop on eBay, and everybody does not have a cheap mentality. I had people walk into my warehouse and pay me $1,200 to $1,500 to $2,000 for used furniture, but it's about presentation. Um, I should touch on this point. Say you buy a unit and you get a whole bunch of high end stuff, and you find yourself really frustrated because you can't sell it. One of the reasons you can't sell it is the presentation sucks. You would be better off finding a real estate agent that will let you put that furniture in a house, take a picture of those items in the house, and it will sell better and faster. Because if you've got high-end furniture in your garage and you're not in an upscale neighborhood, like where I live, whenever I sell stuff on Craigslist, they don't even haggle with me because of where I live. I mean, I live in a very nice neighborhood, and when people are driving through and they just give me the money. If I was living in my old neighborhood in East Lake, which is going through gentrification, I would have struggles because they're traveling through the hood to get to my nice little section of the hood. I'm telling you, so presentation is huge. When I sold my MacBook, guy came over, he saw the place, he saw where I lived, gave me $1,450. He didn't even argue with me. If I was trying to do that out my warehouse, they would have been trying to get that MacBook for $800, $900. Same, it's so. With your high-end stuff, you need a high-end presentation. Even if it means taking that stuff home to your house and taking pictures of it in your house, that's what it does. That's how you get better money for furniture. That's one of the little secrets. Let's see. And if you bought them separate, I've got, once again, we're working on that. Like the people who bought them on Amazon, just send me a picture you're in. Free shipping. Free shipping is like an evil curse. If you're on eBay, they almost force you to do it because they will lower your rating if you don't offer it. This is my thing. Sell stuff that can handle the free shipping. Because if you're selling a bunch of low margin stuff, it'll kill you. I think it's the way of the world. I think that pretty much everything's going to be free shipping in the future, so you might as well embrace it and learn how to work it. Let's see, what's this one? Okay, I'm going to answer this. How long, this is from Chris, how long do we have to get the books because we're waiting for the last one to ship, but may not get it before the class starts? Okay, you don't have to worry about that. The way that I'm setting this up, and this is one of the reasons that I'm stopping with the webinars, is everybody's got crazy schedules. Here it is like almost 10 o'clock at night. And, hey, thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. But the thing is, this is going to be set up where it's always going to be up. That's the thing. That's the beauty of it. I'm going to set the webinar up. It's going to be up, and you can go in and look at it whenever you want. So you don't even have to worry about it, because it's not going to be like this, where I'm going to do a webinar. I'm going to create a video. I'm going to have the information, and you can go in there and get it whenever you want. That's the beauty of it, because that's been the problem, because there's a lot of people who want to do the webinars, but they have family, they have kids, or their work schedule, and they can't do it. And going forward, all the books are going to be audiobooks at some point. Now, I didn't put this out, but for everybody because everybody that gets into the paid site, new stuff comes out, there are going to be discounts. Like, I should tell you, working on the porn is always in the DVD player. It's essentially taking down the blog, adding up stories, and it's just going to be a lot of my life. It's going to be nonfiction about the storage auction business. Like, everybody in the group's going to get a discount compared to everybody that's not in the group. When I do the audiobooks, once again, there will be a discount that other folks are not going to get in. Because, I'm going to say just listen and watch what I do, and you'll see it. Because this is not the iProfit.com is not just going to be a temporary thing. This is something that I'm going to add content to every week. This is going to be going on and on and on. I mean, essentially in my mind, I'm thinking it's going to be 30 to 40 hours of content. And I want to add more stuff, because this is geared to use some of my other experience of starting a business. I've started 9. The first 5 sucked. But each time I failed, I learned something. And because there's a lot of people who buy the books who don't want to do storage auctions, but they want to have, lessons on their business. There's going to be like sales classes. Because another problem is people buy stuff and then they get in that situation where they've got a customer beating them over the head and they don't know what to do. Because sometimes your customer will have a tail. Because I had a guy, He walked around the item 4 times. His body language, it was like, it was all his body language. I want. Then he's gonna try to hardball me, right? I just backed up and said, no, that's the price, and didn't say nothing else. And watched as his mind went crazy, and he said, okay, and gave me the money. There's a skill there, and I think I can help you with that because haven't thought about it, but maybe doing like watching me do a sales presentation on the phone, or setting it up. Like, one of the things I'm going to do on my blog TV show is I'm going to start with the oldest videos, and I'm just going to go through them on that blog TV. And I think it's going to be recorded, so that's another thing, and that's going to be free, and that's going to be outside the site, and that's stuff that's already out there. And interview people, do stuff, but this whole thing this whole site's going to be about helping people to improve the business they have, or just starting the business. That's going to be the genesis behind that site. And it's not going to be like, in and out. It's my intention to make it extremely robust. Extremely. So hopefully that answers your question. Pinterest, it's fun, but unless you're selling a lot of stuff for women, it doesn't make a lot of money. Like women, if you use jewelry, clothing, that stuff's doing well. Will you have a forum on ibuy.profit.com? Yep, that's one of the reasons that's taking a while to get it together. There will be a forum. There will be where you can, once it gets all up together, you'll get an email, you can sign in, you can create a username, get an avatar, and do all that stuff. But it's just, and one of the reasons that I'm charging is I get a better type of interaction with the people who bought the books versus the folks who are still curious. I'm through dealing with them. I mean, it's for some of them it's been 3 years and they're still asking me 1,800 questions. And I've had people. I will tell you, there's one guy who bought the first book. He bought all the editions of the book, and he actually went to the first webinar. He now has a 10,000 square foot store. He did that from 2009 up to now. He just recently sent me a picture of his store, and he's so fucking proud. He's like, I didn't go to college, and the best job I ever had, I made 30 grand, and I own a store. He did that in 3 years, and I would love to see more stories like that. So it's good information if you apply it. If you're not going to do anything with it, it's horrible information. It's terrible information. It's not going to do anything for you or your family. It's not, because it has to be applied. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. Napoleon Hill is storage auction business. That's funny. Yeah, good to follow your customers on Pinterest to find out what they're into. That's a pretty good deal. All right, the voice is about to go. I'm going to shut this down. Thanks everyone for coming out. In a few days, this will be in the pay site along with the other ones. It's just, I'm moving a little faster than I did before because I got help. And that's it. Thanks for coming out. Have a great evening.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected. Goodbye.